We have gone through several mechanisms for looking at scaling the business. Uh, Let me come back to the slide or the bullets that I mentioned right in the beginning about imagining a scaled up business. And when we said that extrapolation from where you are to where you want to be sometimes does not help. You have to imagine the bigger company, the scaled up company, and then work towards getting that. So let's revisit this stuff and see what we need to do to build sales capability for imagining our scaled up business. Many of you would probably be first time founders as students and will take time to get to this point, but it is good to know some of these concepts and also a good logical conclusion to our scaling up section. So we said visualize to realize. We had to visualize the big company and uh, and then work towards it. It breaks the current model of extrapolation and also the some of the assumptions that you have at this point in time to scale up the business are not valid. For example, in the beginning, founders do multiple things that we have seen with our multicolored arrows. But in a scaled up business, you would have specialized team to do those things, while founders in their role at that particular point in time will provide the leadership, may also work for another CEO as we have talked about, but they will continue to influence the company and its strategy being the founders of the company. So what it takes to do the jump, business model with a mind exercise is very, very important. Working out greater details, theory of constraints. The only constraint for many of these things is our mind. If you don't think you can do it, then there is a chance that you will not be able to execute. So getting it in our system or in our mind that this is possible and then removing physical constraints one after another is very, very important. We have heard several times that at the very top level, the game is more in mind than in physical. The game is always there, but first you have to win it in your mind and then do the rest. And team building, we've talked about it, and it's important to look at that. I'll come back to team building when I look at founders narrative. So what do we have to do in sales? Again, going back to the basics, how to sell is very important. Making someone buy in the beginning, creating need, building channels, very, very important. That building a robust channel is an important aspect of scaling up. For products, you have to make sure that 1,000 hands selling. For services, you may still have the same channel model, but for services, reaching out to the bigger market, bigger ticket size, long-term customers, multi-year contracts, all of those are possible at a very, very high level of scalability, whether it's a large enterprise product or it's a large consumer product, all of them come together uh, in sales to be able to build the scalability. Go to market continues to evolve around that, and at times selling to the CEO, especially in case of B2B or B2B2C contract, selling to the CEO is an important aspect in many businesses. CEOs of customer organizations have favorite projects, have favorite priorities. And if you fit into that and are able to offer a value from what you're offering or from your product and services, there is a significant chance that you will be able to create newer logos, larger customer base, dominant uh, growth in your volume of sales because you're directly selling to the CEO. It's very important to understand that piece, but also understand CEO's mindset of few priorities and then building that. I want to take 3, 4 companies here who've scaled up, and these are companies that I have been involved with, small or big, in a way. So it's important to see. You take Early Salary, which is a company that gives you short-term loans in lieu of a salary, and it's grown about 10 times in rupee terms in a year. Single focus onboard product, ability to raise equity and debt, attract best-in-class talent, and build strong sales channel. That's what early salary is. Gig India, uh, 30 times in 3 years, prioritize customer acquisition, attracts best-in-class talent. You can see that building team becomes a common denominator in all of these fast growth companies. Laser focus on process and setting for the scale. Multiple times for Bombay Shaving in last 3 years, diversifying from shaving to beard to skin to bath and body care, reaching out to offline model uh, is very important. 5,000 stores with a premium footfall. So they've combined on offline and online both. Very, very important. Sometimes we tend to focus these days only on online. That doesn't work. Bombay Shaving has demonstrated that both models are very, very important. High conversion uh, on all screen listings, ahead of the curve in funding, very, very important. If you look at Indigo Paints, a large base company, 3 times growth, product differentiation, focus on tier 3 and tier 4 town rather than the metros, uh, advertising from for last 7 8 years, and very powerful sales incentive program, including stock options, so that their sales team have zero turnover and have worked towards growing the company's business. What I would like you to do is look at these companies now. Some of the Bombay Shaving is here, but I don't have any other company. These are different set of companies in growth stage. Uh, the companies in the top row are service companies. We talked about Gig India. Let me just give you one or two liners on each of the other companies. Urban Company is a service for a large number of, so whether you want a plumber at home or you want a massage or a, uh, you know, uh, beauty parlor at home or any of those kind of home services, they have been providing those services, and during pandemic, they've grown significantly. We talked about Gig India. Women's Cricket Zone is a company solely focused on women cricket, while most people are focused on men cricket. Cricket Zone has focused on women's cricket and has become a website where all forms of women cricket, not just India but international, is found there, and that's been their focus. Pepper Content is a service company. It has organized content writers. So if you're a large organization, the government ministry or a large enterprise, or an online marketplace, and you want content, be it product description to writing a white paper to writing website pages, and combination of text, video, graphics to create content of any form, and you want to get it done through a organized content delivery, Pepper Content is the company to go for. They have grown significantly. Package AI is a product company, and it has built technology to screen already X-rayed bags, for example, at the airports, to find more security threats that escape an X-ray scan and have to be manually done. So they bring that value on the table. It's not just the airport, but their technology can be used in security screening at the hotels, at the shopping malls, or any other places where you need screening as a part of the physical security check. Uh, Bombay Shaving we talked about. Native Chef is an interesting company. It's focused on traditional Indian cuisine at this point in time. And to give you an example, let's say you're a professional working in, let's say, Chennai, uh, and you're from North India, you're from Chandigarh, say, or from Patiala or Jalandhar, and one of those days you want home cooked chole bhature, exactly the way your grandmother or your mom used to make. You want it in Chennai. Native Chef will organize that as a home delivery prepared by a onboarded chef who specializes in chole bhature. It could be other way around. You're in Chandigarh working for, let's say, a company over there, but you grew up in Chennai and you want, you know, tamarind rice and and yogurt and curd rice, something like that. So they will find a chef in Chandigarh who can deliver the South Indian or the Tamil meal for you. That's so think of it as a Uber or Ola for traditional cuisine. The companies headquartered are based out of Nagpur. They're yet to cover even the entire Nagpur, but they will go to other towns. So what should be their strategy? We talked about Indigo Paints just a few minutes back. I would like you to pick two companies, one from the top row and one from the bottom row, and describe their scale up strategy as you would understand. Go to the website, learn more about the domain, learn everything, and at least pick two companies. If you want to pick more, most appreciated. But pick one company from the upper row and one company from the bottom row, and write down in simple terms what should be their scale up strategy over next, let us say, 2 years. I want to turn my focus on government. Many times we run into startups where government plays an important role as a potential customer. Today morning, I spoke with a founder who's building something that would be in the realm of clean drinking water, a an area that where municipalities effectively play a major role, so they can be the potential customer. But it is important to understand few of the things about government. Uh, First of all, governments are generally large and have big potential. They are not just one customer, but they are a market in general. Market means several customers with similar requirement, as we have spoken in the past. A very relationship oriented decision making level, operating level, procurement and finance, the tender, the request for proposal. Governments have a way of doing that. Sometimes you have to shape the requirements, educate, evangelize, because if you're a startup, you're bringing something different on the table, and it is not easy to get that across in the tender process to the government. So it requires significant work upfront. You'll always deal with coexisting competitors who try and, you know, shoo you out. So it's important to understand that uh, those are handled. You will create new requirements because you're bringing innovations on the table. Influencing customers' approach and ethics. All of these are very, very important. So governments present a significant opportunities. Government contracts take time and resources. Startups need to achieve a critical mass before taking on the government as a market. That means you need to spend some time before you attack government. Having said that, on the other hand, many times founders actually stay away from the government. That is not correct either. The right time you have to find and then enter the government market. Well, you must have some resources, either in terms of the money in the bank, reference customers, even if they are outside government, and a team that can focus on government, and give yourself 2 3 years before this market starts giving you significant returns in terms of logos, customers, and revenue. Founder's role is very important right through from the day one all the way to the scale up. Evangelization is very important. Competition can come in terms of ignorance. If you're building something that people do not know about, ignorance can be your competitor. Organizations sometimes have a risk aversion to new technologies, new companies. They are not early adopters, they are not risk takers. That can be a competitor. Other offerings are also a competitor. So competition comes in either customer, potential customer, a basket of customers, not knowing what they can avail of by engaging with you. Some of them may not like to deal with new companies or young companies, and there could be other offerings present. So just take a note of the competition. It's not just another company selling a slightly equivalent product. It is about the first two as well. Founders need to make sure that that is handled well. Founders need to show the show the path to the sales team, to others, how to combat competition and create early customers so that some of those techniques could be followed. Building relationship with customers, partners, market influence, all of these are part of the founding relationship. And therefore, it is important that all founders, whether you are technically oriented or non-technically oriented, if you are a founding team, are involved in this. Very often we see founders tend to say, it's not my job, I'm the product development person, I'm the engineer side of the solution, and he or she looks at business. That doesn't work. All founders have to do everything until company grows to a point where people can take specialized role. Building the team, building marketing and sales team, we talked about it in the validation class, is very important. When do you hire dedicated teams is critical. When do you step beyond the home market, as we talked about in our go-to market, is critical. What do you offer at the early stage? How do we improvise current offering, and how do you introduce new products and services is very, very important. And very important is that the founders need to bring in very, very smart people. Experience of mine tells me that hiring very smart people is probably the easiest, because they are not shy or scared of tough challenges, because they know they have the ability to handle those tough challenges. Sometimes the issue lies with people who are hiring. How do you hire? They think that the smart people are difficult to hire. Smart people are actually very easy to hire. If you can show them the vision, if you can show them a bright idea, if you can show what you're doing, they will come on board. We have seen companies where there is one towering founder and the rest of the team does not match the stature of the founder. This kind of teams can go only a certain distance. They cannot scale up infinitely. Big time scale up requires very strong teams. Sometimes you have to hire people who are smarter, more specialized, and very independent minded than yourself. And then you have to find a way to work with them or to provide the leadership to smart people, and that's when scale up happens. Last one, founders need to ensure funds and teams for scale up. Until the company becomes cash flow positive and the business starts generating enough resources for its growth plan, founders need to make sure that through equity, through debt, or combination, the tanks are full for the company to run, and the teams are there to help the company to scale up. So that brings us to the end of sales and scale up. In our idea generation, we had talked about for you to pick up 2 ideas and validate them and build a narrative around those ideas, go find a founder, co-founder, etc. Then we talked about a couple of companies, and then we also talked about some examples. Now, these are some of the case studies. I will come back again and re-summarize or recap these in a separate 10-minute session, so that all the hands-on that you have to do are in front of you. I will also circulate 1 or 2 pages so that there's a written text for you to solve these case studies.